Hello, everyone, and welcome to Compassionate Chats. I'm Tanys Coughlan, My Place Home Care, and I am joined by my beautiful co-host, Heidi Gagne.
Hello, Tanys. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So today's a little different.
It
We don't
is.
actually have any guests joining us today because we would like to focus on what sets My Place Home Care apart from the many other home care companies that are out there. And I think it's important that we do talk about this because our company is, I feel like it's different.
It was formed in a different way, right?
It was
And
formed in a different way.
so it was formed by a gentleman by the name of Kumar Saha. And, he went through the public system with his mom. The public system's good, but there's some holes in it. And so what he wanted to do was fill in those gaps, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when he started this, he felt there was the short visits that they've gone to. I've been in the business for over 25 years. So what it started out with is not the same as what it is today.
Mm-hmm.
And they used to have longer visits and stuff. And so there was a benefit to that because we had you had the continuity, you had time to actually connect and have a relationship with your client when you were the worker.
Mm-hmm.
And so that stuff is a little bit more challenging now with the public system because you've got the shorter visits. They tend to be 1 hour visits sort of thing. So one of the things that sets us apart is the amount of time. So we work with our clients to find the appropriate amount of time, of course, for them, but we do try to encourage the longer shifts so that they can have that relationship because let's face it, you got a stranger coming into your home.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, how many of us would be willing to take our shirt off if a stranger came in and said, "Okay, let's go. Take your shirt off."
Yeah.
I feel like that's uncomfortable. I
don't
want to do that.
Exactly. So that was one of the things that because he went through this with his mom, and his mom was a private woman, and so that was a challenge, I think, for her. And and then there's also if we don't know the person, right? So we try to keep continuity. Right? Yeah. Heidi does a great job of that. Heidi does a lot of our scheduling and stuff, and and oversees it. And so it's important to keep that sort of continuity of care going in. So that we can build that relationship, and that's important to us. The relationship between.
It really is, and it's important because we do specialize in dementia care. And our staff are all trained in PAC, which is Positive Approach to Care. And it was I guess, what is it, a theory or
a framework, I think, right?
Framework, okay.
Yeah.
Designed by a woman named Teepa Snow in the US. And it centers on what can the person do, not what they can't do, and how to engage them in a positive way. So the experience together is a good one. And so getting a client living with dementia into the shower can actually happen successfully, and it being a good moment in their time versus it being a negative or difficult or both are frustrated. When we've already built that relationship, we're giving them enough time to do that task. And so I think the 3 hour, we generally try to do a minimum of 3 hours because that gives you a really good time to connect. You get all your tasks done, but it also gives you that time, that companionship with your client, which is something else we are going to talk about today. And
Absolutely.
How important that connection and that togetherness helps. But yeah, so we do specialize in dementia care. We have lots of other kinds of clients as well, but our staff are trained in this really, really amazing framework of positive approach to care. So that also, I think, sets us apart is we do have that more specialized training. And it's such a positive training. And our trainer is fantastic. We have talked about this before in our podcast when Carrie, our PAC certified trainer, joined us in January when we talked about dementia. And joined by Kumar as well and Karen Tyrell from BC. We've also talked, I know, on our podcast, our first compassionate conversation podcast with Kumar was our first one with the owner of the company. So if you're interested, please take a look back. You can go on YouTube or our Facebook page. You can find them, or even our website. All our podcasts are linked there, and you can watch them. So I do strongly suggest take a look at them, because Kumar's story and why he made this company is fantastic. And it ties into behind me. These are our
values, right?
Values. Thank you.
Yeah.
These are the 6 values that we live and work by, which is compassion, integrity, responsibility, quality, accountability, and innovation. And I think the innovation part this year, it is our 10th anniversary this year. So that's kind of exciting. And we have really, really started with the innovation. We've really started talking with other companies in the area and other businesses that might provide an unusual service. And how do you tie it into senior care? But we have some really great things coming up. So really should keep an eye on our Facebook page about all these great new innovations that will be coming. And maybe we'll do a podcast when some of those things are finalized. I think we could do a podcast about a lot of those things. But I mean, again, this also sets us apart. We strive to be different. We strive to adapt and to move along with the times and pull the information and the technology that's out there. And how can we help people? Even though, maybe some people don't like new technology and all that kind of stuff, which can be difficult. I know I battle my mom with it all the time. She hates cell phones and all these things, but, it's not going anywhere. And we might as well embrace the use and how it can help save lives.
Yeah.
And keep you safe in your home.
Well, and the other thing is collaboration. So a lot of these innovations are from some of our collaborative partners. And so we do a lot of that stuff, and we'll show you a list of them on our website in a few moments. But the collaboration is key, right?
Yeah.
I think that is something that people don't do enough. That's just a personal opinion, of course. But I think that, with My Place, we certainly do advocate for that collaboration.
100%. So collaboration and sharing resources. And I mean, if we can't help somebody, if what they need is not something we can provide at that moment, we will do everything we can to make sure that you don't go home empty-handed. So we're not going to just answer the phone and go, yeah, no, we can't help you, bye. Yeah. We have resources, we have people, we partner. Well, we have a friendship with another home care company in Ottawa. And so we do share resources. And, there are times when we might not be able to meet somebody's need, but with their help, we can. And we know that this company is a solid company. They share our values. They share our mission, our mantra, and everything like that. And so I think it's really important that you have those people that you call on because the worst thing to do is when somebody is stressed and they're trying to figure out care for their mom who's coming out of the hospital in a day and a half, to then have to call another 10 other care companies. Yeah. So I think it's really important. And that's one of the things that I truly love about My Place Home Care is that when I'm struggling to fill sometimes, I know I have the people at Comfort Keepers that can help me. And I can call them and say, hey, what do you got? Can you help?
Yeah, exactly. So,
I think that's really important as well.
Yeah, and like you were saying with the technology stuff, we are working on a program to help with some of the technology that's out there to help with dementia care.
Yeah,
with that kind of brain building, shall we say, that goes along with that, right?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that with Doug Smith. Yeah, when he was on the podcast.
That's right.
Yeah, some of the work he's done.
So I think that that's important. And our caregivers are pretty
Are awesome.
amazing.
Yeah.
You know, we do have a pretty extensive, I guess you could say, screening process, because we want to make sure that we're making the right choices.
Because we're putting them in people's homes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I think it's really important. I think you have to be very diligent, and you know what? It's not a bad question to ask when you're looking for care. What is your hiring process? How vetted are they? And I think that is a solid question, especially like you said, they're coming into your home,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to be alone with your parent or yourself. And what if you can't communicate as well due to multitude of reasons, and you want to make sure that you're safe, and your partner or your mom, who may not be able to verbally say what's happening, you want them to feel safe.
Yeah.
So we make sure that the caregivers we have make you feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we train them, so in that vein, we do offer quite a bit of training besides the dementia training. We do also, we can provide training for UCP, which helps with medical or medication administration.
Mm-hmm.
And we work with Valley Pharmacies with that program. And
UCP is unregulated care provider.
Yes. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Unregulated care provider. Probably a good idea to read out the acronyms.
Well, we have it's the jargon that we use in the office.
Right. Yeah. And we also our new training that we're setting up is foot care, which is again just another service that we can provide to our clients. And so this is non-diabetic foot care. So if there's any kind of medical issues, there's certain medical issues that require a special trained nurse for that. But basic foot care, filing, clipping, and that sort of thing on people, that's another service we can provide. And when I was just talking to a client yesterday, and they were in the hospital, and they get their bath, their shower, once a week, because they're in the hospital for a period of time and everyone is overworked. And, we were saying we were just going to come and help overnight to alleviate any stress. And, we're like, oh, well, would you like to have a bed bath in the morning? Do you like to have your hair brushed? What about your nails? And she was just so excited to have these things done when she wanted it, and not when she was slotted in the time frame. So again, being able to offer simple things like foot care, which we take advantage of because we can do it at any time, some people can't. So I mean, that kind of extra training, and it's done properly, it's done safely, it's done as it should be, and I think that's another thing that sets us apart, is that the training that we want our staff to have just provides more for them and our clients. I think that's
and I think that's the other thing to think about is in the institutional setting. So being a private pay company, we can go anywhere with the client, right? I know with the public system, they once they're in the hospital or they're in a long-term care home, people, they can't really have, that's not to say they can't go to retirement residence, because that's a different classification. But those other two, the public system can't really send more workers,
right,
because they rely on the ones there. So that example of being in the hospital and being able to offer the extra care, that's a perfect example of that. And then the long-term care home one, somebody's moving, for instance, right, from private care in their own home to a higher care facility because they have, unfortunately, have more needs, right?
Yeah.
And so that is something that can help smooth the way for them, because there is that continuity of care then, right? They get the same person and they get to come and, fill in the gaps of where busy
especially-
systems are.
And especially for somebody with dementia,
Mhm.
a new environment can be detrimental to some. Like it can, depending on where they are in the stages of dementia. But moving into a different place could be terrifying and
Mhm.
difficult for not just the person, but the new staff. You
Yeah.
know, and I mean, most of them that do work in memory care understand that this can happen. But
Definitely.
if we've already been with this person for a year or more, then
Mhm.
us joining them during this process just gives them that a little bit more continuity, a little more of a regular face that they know. And I know it provides them so much more comfort. And the family feels comfortable as well. They love it. We had a client recently earlier in the year that moved into assisted living, and his caregivers still went with him every week. And it also gives the family a little bit of the inside look of what's going on,
Mhm.
and helps them to advocate when needed, and understand what their loved one is doing when they're not around, because they can be different.
Gives them
So
peace of mind.
it
Right?
is peace of mind, and it helps with any kind of loneliness that the person who has been moved away from everything that they know into this unknown setting. And then let's add the dementia, the cognition issues into it.
Yeah.
And knowing that somebody is there for them, it will help with any kind of loneliness, any mental health issues, any anxiety, knowing that that person is there. So it is, we strongly suggest to our clients when this is happening, that let's still come in for a little while and just help. And
Even if
help.
it's only a couple of visits to help them get
Yeah,
settled.
even if it's just a couple weeks, and I think and it definitely does make a difference. It does make a difference. So we do encourage it. We can't force it. We wish we could, because we don't.
Well, only because we care.
only because we care. And it kind of gives our caregivers a chance to say that little bit of goodbye. And because let's be honest, our caregivers are compassionate, wonderful human beings. They are going to get connected to their clients.
Yeah.
They're going to get connected to their clients.
With healthy boundaries, but they do, they care.
But they want to be able to have that, that chance to have that one last goodbye, that sort of thing. So I think it's I think it's just good for everybody when we have that continuing
transition times, right?
Yeah, just to help.
Because those can be
want
challenging.
to talk about something else that we have that we have started and we're streamlining, and this is our dementia workshop. So I'm very excited about this because I have had my hands in it for a little while with Carrie, our PAC certified trainer. This dementia workshop is an 8-week workshop, and it is an hour-long session each week. So basically what this workshop is for family members or loved ones of people living with dementia, primary caregivers, or even just family members, to help kind of understand the journey that your loved one is going on. So the 8-week sessions kind of include kind of talk about what is dementia, because everyone just thinks dementia, it could be Alzheimer's, and that's about it. But there are 4 major kinds of dementia, like 4 umbrella
categories of
dementia. And I mean, one of them has like 75 different kinds of dementia in it. So it is a huge diagnosis. Like there's a lot of information coming out there. So we kind of break down some of the major ones in our first session. And because we use the PAC mantra, our session, the workshop is very much centered around that positive approach to care. So then there's a couple of games that we play that make you kind of think about, oh, what is it like? So one of the games, and I got stumped the first time I did it, was, okay, you got to take your loved one in to brush their teeth in the bathroom. How do you do it? And then you have to write down each step, but you don't realize you need to think about, oh, you're going to have to tell them to turn the light on.
Yeah.
You're going to have to tell them to, pick up a toothbrush, and depending on their stages, at the stage of their journey, you might have to remind them, no, we don't pick up the comb. The comb isn't, no, we're going to use the toothbrush instead, and so that's one of the games that we play, is these steps of how many of, how do you do it?
Yeah.
How do you do it? And it kind of makes you look and think, okay, no, you're right. I do actually have to do it. Because when I did it the first time, Carrie said to me, she's like, how does he know where his toothbrush is? He can't see. I'm like, what are you talking about? You didn't turn the light on. Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to turn the light on because I'm coming into a room and you don't think about it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. So that's a couple of things that we do. I'm really excited about 2 weeks. We are going to be doing a lot of hands-on. So our participants will be given noise canceling headphones or vision impairing goggles. And then we're going to make them try to eat.
So that'll be fun.
Put oven mitts on. So because their dexterity changes. So, and then you're going to have to cut the meat or, or have a drink. But you can't see anything or you can't hear the things that are going on around you. And I feel like it's really, really important for you to be able to put yourself in their shoes.
Yeah.
And understand even remotely. And I think it gives the person trying it the understanding that they may know what they want to do. Their loved one may know exactly what they want to do, but they actually cannot get the words out, or they can't say what they want to say, or they're thinking, okay, I'm going to pick up this cup, and then they bang the plate. And it's like, no, I wanted to pick up the cup. I know I want to pick up the cup. That's what I'm picking up. Can't you see I'm picking up the cup? But they're actually picking up the plate. And so by having them try these things out and put themselves in their shoes, the ultimate goal is a little more understanding, so that and your level of frustration, because having to deal with that 24 hours a day is exhausting. But if you can remember just a little bit, like, oh, hey, yeah, I remember when I was wearing the oven mitts and I couldn't open a pop can, and like how frustrating it was, because you know how to do it. Yeah. Concept, what you're supposed to do.
For years.
You've been doing it for years and years and years, but you can't do it because you have these limitations that are not going away. So I think those 2 weeks are going to be very interesting. We're also going to talk about, we're going to talk about so many different things, but we're going to talk about behaviors and how each behavior can change through the stages of dementia. And again, it just provides a little more understanding to the people that are living with the person. And it is centered around, the whole session is centered around living at home with the person with dementia. So it's how can you, when you're home alone, what can you do? What are some of the ideas? How can you distract them? And remembering that what may have worked an hour ago might not work now, but it could work in 20 minutes. So you never know. Like you have to just keep adjusting. And so this workshop, I'm very excited about it. I think it's a valuable tool, and it's worth the time.
And it helps support the caregivers, which, there's a lot of caregiver fatigue out there. So
so exhausting, and you can see it when they come. You can see we've done the workshop through the Edinburgh, and and our participants, they were tired, and they're like, I don't know what to do. This is the new thing. I've never seen this before, and it could be as simple as they're getting frustrated because they can't do anything that they used to do. Oh, well, did they ever like, they like building? What about playing with Lego? Oh, I don't know, like just these little ideas. I mean, we have also included in the workshop, we can talk about all these different activities that, again, using the positive approach to care, which we center around the things they can do.
Mm-hmm.
It could be as simple as sorting socks for you. They could help you with the laundry by matching socks.
Yeah.
Well,
and I think it's important to talk about our day program as well, that we have we have an individual dementia day program that's individualized to each client, and that's based on those principles as well.
Exactly.
So you can take that a step further from the training, and even have our caregivers work with them with some of the activities, because we've got some customized activities that we send in with our workers for like mental stimulation and keeping them active and that sort of thing. So
we have talked about the Dementia Day program before. I know we talked about it on our dementia topic, but it is a fantastic program, and it is centered around that one person and only them. And so we get that we get the history of their life, what they liked, and all these great things. And then our caregivers already have insight to the client. And so when they start talking about their dad who worked in the fields and grew corn for many, many years, they're like, oh, yeah, your dad, Charles. And, oh, Charles? Yeah, we're good friends, You can kind of engage with them. And again, that connection is built. And so those 3 hours that we do, plus the Dementia Day program, which involves learning about the client themselves, it just ties into just a solid relationship and a mutual relationship with the caregiver and our client. And
and we customize the tools that they use. So like, our team will look at the care plan and find out information about the client. And then if they're doing a memory game, for instance, they're going to do it with images or with subject matter that person's interested in.
Or crosswords. We do customizable crosswords for that, and word searches, and matching games, and all sorts of different things. And then there's other activities that don't require any kind of specialized thing. I mean, as simple as, like we said earlier, laundry, helping with laundry, gardening, and all these wonderful things that you can do that they can still do.
And it gives them that sense of accomplishment, right?
It does. And inclusiveness. Like they're part of the family still. They're not alone. And I think that's also very important. And I think that is definitely one thing that sets us apart, is our Dementia Day program for our clients living with dementia. And it's very valuable. I cannot say enough about that program as well. And I generally read the life story, and I love learning about people's backgrounds and their lives and everything like that. And
people are fascinating. Right?
It is. People are fascinating.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if, they could be telling a story. Somebody could be telling a story that so they think they're back at 16 years old. But it doesn't hurt for you to go, oh, that's awesome. Okay, so what did you do last week? Oh, you went to a dance. Awesome. Can you tell me about the dance? And, who cares if it happened 55 years ago, 60 years ago?
Doesn't
matter. Because you're still connecting with them, and you're still, you're still having that moment, that sharing that time together. And then you can tie it in later and on another visit, because we do have the same caregivers. We strive to have the same caregivers coming every time. So what you guys talked about last week, well, they can pull it up and they can talk about it again this week if they need to. So the automatic companionship that comes with slightly longer shifts help to keep those conversations going, to keep the client engaged, to keep, if they have dementia, keep the agitation down, because they're heard, they're listened, they know that this person understands them. And that really is another thing I think that sets us apart.
Well, I think it's worth mentioning too that we don't make our workers work 7 days a week. That's we're saying we keep the same worker. I just want to mention that we have care teams, because I don't think we mentioned that at the beginning. So we form care teams for our clients so that they have a core group. That's how we keep that continuity in terms of that. Just in case somebody's thinking they have them working all the time.
No.
Because that's not the case.
But if somebody does need 7 days a week, yes, usually if it's 7 days a week, we usually have at least 2 to 3 caregivers on the care team. But for the most part, the same person will come every Monday. The same person will come every Tuesday. And again, that is also super important for many people to have that continuity. But again, with dementia, people living with dementia, it's super important to have that continuity. And so we do our utmost to make sure that happens. I mean, people have vacations, people have emergencies,
of course,
100%. But I think that's also what sets us apart a little bit, is how supportive we are with the work-life balance for our team as well. I think it's really important to be understanding, and the stress that they're under for external sources that have nothing to do with us. We still need to be understanding about that. We still need to understand that they have a life outside of us. And I have a life outside of this. And so I want them to be cohesive and work together. So work-life balance is also really important, I think.
Yes, I agree. And I mean, that's being compassionate for our workers.
Exactly. Right? So it's not just our clients that this applies to here.
That's right.
It applies to all
business
of us.
Decisions, right? That's how we run. Yeah. So very
cool. The world
cool.
Definitely needs a lot more compassion and empathy right now.
Yes. Compassion, empathy, and love.
That's right.
Definitely. So I thought maybe we could show a little bit of our website, just because there's some resources and stuff on there that we'd love to share.
Okay.
So let's just zip over there. Let me just pull this up here. There we are. So this is our website. And you can see here, you can contact us through there. And family-centered services, 24-hour support, qualified personal friendly workers. So these are some of the services, right? We talked about our convalescent services a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. Personal care, of course, we do help with that. That's like, mainstay of personal support services. And then dementia care, we've spoken about. Palliative and end-of-life care. So that's another thing that we are building a program with another nurse, and we're working on having more training in terms of that as well. And we mentioned the foot care, and respite is also important for those dementia clients, right?
Yeah.
Because the respite care helps the caregivers release their stress a little bit. They can get away and have a little bit of a break. And then we have home and medical supplies. So the home equipment and medical supplies are things that we have partners for in our business, and companion care and companionship as well. And so when we look at that, some of the care partners that we have that we work with would be these ones here. So you can check those out. That's on our resources, our partners here, in order to get there. And you'll see there's all sorts of different types of businesses there, and that's important for us, because we're able to say, go to that site, go to that icon, right, and go to that, and you've got the contact information for them. So that's important for us. We really like to provide that. And then resources, which I think we're still in the process of building a bunch more resources in here, and we've been actually talking about that at the meetings and stuff. So this one gives you some good overview information about various agencies and stuff in the Ottawa area. And so it helps you to understand, why would you want to call them? What do they help with? That kind of thing as well. So I think those are valuable resources, and we're going to be putting in some others as well. And this we've spoken about. So the approach, and then in-home care assessment. So that's what we start with, a care assessment, and then we develop a personalized care plan, and then we have ongoing follow-up, right, where we might have to bring in other things. And then if you want to look at some of our reviews and stuff, they're on the website as well. So that's kind of a little overview of the website, just so that you have an idea of where to go. And, you can call us anytime. Heidi.
When you call us, you're calling a community.
Yeah.
Because if we can't give you an answer right away, we'll try. We'll do the best we can. We actually have one review that I read. It was from about 2 years ago, I think it was. And he actually said in the review, like, while they couldn't help me, he gave me like a whole bunch of numbers to call, and I was able to take care of it. So I think it's cool that we're getting reviews from people who we never had as an official client, but are still talking about how we were able to help them. And I think that is a key component of My Place Home Care, is that if we can't do it, we'll help you find somebody who can.
Yeah, definitely. And that because just speaks to
should have that answer of nope, can't help you, hang up. Because
just speaks to the philosophy.
It did happen to him, and that was frustrating for him. And so he said, I'm starting this business. That's not how we're going to be.
We're not going to roll like that, folks.
Nope.
So,
nope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
That's kind of what makes us
a little
what
different.
we feel makes us a little different.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would love to hear from you if you need any kind of help, or if you're interested in hearing about our services. We would love for you to call or check out our website. Jacob works very hard on maintaining that beautiful website. Shout out to Jacob.
Definitely.
Pardon me?
Definitely. Yeah.
He spends a lot of time on that.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to Facebook and also to YouTube, because we have lots of amazing guests coming up too. We're working diligently to bring some of those people on. We'd love to have you join us on the last fourth Friday of the month.
The last Friday.
Last Friday of the month. 25th this month. Okay. And we have some awesome guests coming up over the next year or so with in our Compassionate Conversations, as well as other chats as well. So the chats is our half hour, and the conversations is an hour in-depth conversation with specialists in the field. Yeah. So join us for that.
Yeah.
And so we love to have questions. So please forward questions, put comments in the video if you're watching this after the time, and just reach out. If we can help, we will.
We will always happy to help.
Yeah.
Or guide you where you need.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. Great. So thank you all for joining us today on Compassionate Chats, and we look forward to seeing you back again next time.
Have a great day, guys.
Have a good time.